Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of Tales from the Crypt, the EC Archives from Dark Horse. This book is volume 1. There's going to be in total 5 volumes. Now, this one's obviously the soft paperback version. There is a hardback version, and that came out in 2015. This one, 2021. 211 pages in colour throughout. It's been recoloured, but still absolutely brilliant. I love this volume. And on the back, you've got all of the covers. Weirdly, it says Crypt of Terror. Now, it was Crypt of Terror 17, 18, 19, and then it became Tales from the Crypt. And you can see, obviously, the 3 there. And you can see all the various artists: Johnny Craig, Al Feldstein, George Roussos, Wally Wood, Harvey Kurtzman, and so many others. And, well, EC, as it says, an entertaining comic. Here's the contents. You've got a great selection of stories. It's got the cover artist, it's also got the colourist, and also for each of the stories you've got the artist and writer. Of course, in some cases, it says there, writer unknown. So it's probably the short story that's got that. And here's the contents on the next page as well. You've got obviously Harvey Kurtzman and Graham Ingels and many, many others. Now, you've also got an introduction, and this introduction I think is repeated throughout the series. But you've of course got John Carpenter. It was great they included these. I really love these little just one page. Doesn't really give very much, but it's nice to get that sort of personal context of what EC Comics meant for various individuals. And there's a brilliant cover. Introducing the new trend in magazine, illustrated suspense stories. Always makes me wonder whether they were thinking about calling it something else than obviously suspense stories and not Crypt of Terror. Because originally it was obviously the Crime Patrol. They changed it quite a few times. Crime Patrol, then Crypt of Terror, and then it became, of course, Tales from the Crypt. I love that the books include the letters as well. It's a really nice touch. I think it would be really sad if they just included the stories. So letters are great. Also, of course, adverts and those sort of things also are brilliant. There's Crypt of Terror, first one, Death Must Come. Now, I'm not so keen on every artist. I mean, I love Al Feldstein's work. Really, really brilliant. Also, Johnny Craig. Johnny Craig is definitely my favourite, and those are the ones that I've bought when I've got them from Fantagraphics. I love the black and white Johnny Craig ones. And also, when I first got all the Russ Cochran books, the ones that I really loved were the Johnny Craig stories. Just superb. Also includes the adverts. Vault of Horror. You can see horror, suspense, terror on sale now at all newsstands. Another EC surefire winner, it says there. And of course, it gives detail. And I love the fact it says here, Crypt of Terror. And it says, formerly, Crime Patrol. This is obviously issue number 18. And you can see there you can get it for subscription US 60 cents plus 15 cents for package and mail. Now that's for 1 year, if only. This one's an odd one. Wally Wood. Doesn't look like Wally Wood's artwork at all. The Living Corpse. Another suspense sort of story. The Crypt of Terror. Very odd. You know when you look at an artist you think, I just cannot see Wally Wood's style in that at all. I love Johnny Craig's work. Mute Witness to Murder. Women are known, etc. Great stuff. Another suspense story from the Crypt of Terror. I always love the fact they always put that suspense story. I think that was continued all the way up the magazines. But of course you had suspense stories, the actual comic. I love this bit. Look for this seal. Very subtle, of course. But you've got all the titles here. Tales from the Crypt, Two-Fisted Tales, The Vault of Horror, Weird Science, Weird Fantasy, and Crime Suspense Stories. Of course, the other ones are probably all long gone by that point, but there were some really good titles in the pre-trend. Not for everyone, but I would love to see, of course, Dark Horse reprinting some of those. I suspect they won't. Some have. Modern Love, of course, also Gunfighter, they've come out, but there's a few other ones that I would love to see. But this one, Ghost Ship. Very gruesome there. Another brilliant Johnny Craig one, Caveman. I love this advert, EC Fan Addict Club. I wonder how many people, I expect lots and lots of people went for that. Here's my 50 cents, if only. I expect they're quite collectible now. Another short story, Backfire. And also an advert for Weird Science. Yeah, science fiction fans. Sadly, the science fiction ones never did that well. It's a pity because I love the science fiction ones, and for some weird reason, obviously these ones are the most popular. But for me, I just love the Weird Science ones. And also stories from the Bible, picture stories. I've seen a few of these around, but very rare. Not particularly common, I don't think, in the UK. Death, yeah. RX Death or something. Good Lord, etc. Now, I'm not so keen on that art style. I have to say, it's not my favourite. Weirdly, it doesn't say Graham Ingels. I'm not certain why. Sometimes some of the stories had the artist, and then others, they didn't. But I was never a fan of Graham Ingels. Obviously, lots of people love his work. Also, again, more letters. No address given. Ghost. I wonder if that was a proper letter. A ghost. I want to know. Oh dear. I always don't know why they included these. It would have been nice if they included maybe a bit more information, but they included this sort of back page section. Not really of any particular use, really, but still. Again, another classic there. Tales from the Crypt. 10 cents. House of Horror. A Harvey Kurtzman one. That initial bit doesn't really look like Harvey Kurtzman, though as soon as you turn on to the next page, you definitely can see his style coming through. But it's just initial, you think. But that's what I like about some of these really early ones. You can see the style, but at the same time, it's not. It's like the Wally Wood one. Just very, very unusual to see him in that early stage. This picture's included again. I'm not certain why. I would have loved to have seen an article by an EC expert about this period of, obviously, Tales from the Crypt. That would have been much nicer than just including this again. And yet another one as well. Very strange. Terror Ride. This one, Wally Wood, but this time it just says Woody. You can see his style. At this point, it just starts to become... The previous one, I wasn't really certain it was Wally Wood, but this, you definitely can see Wally Wood coming through. Did you buy this? Did you get this one? It's been out, obviously, for a while now. I assume that many people have got it. Did you like it? What's your opinion of this book? Are you going to get it? It's one of the ones you're sort of thinking, I must buy it, but at the moment, I'm not going to get it. Also, did you buy instead the Fantagraphic ones? Do you prefer it in the black and white version? I mean, personally, I love the black and white ones, but also I love these colour ones as well, of course. So here's the list of all the books, obviously current at 2021. You can see Valor, crime suspense stories, Panic, obviously Shock Suspense, and all those. And of course, you can see the books that are just coming out in 2021, Saddle Justice, and the Vault of Horror EC Archives. Now, that one was the hardback, and I loved it. Really, really good Saddle Justice. Also, the Gunfighter one, absolutely brilliant. I love those stories, and it's a nice selection of books. I really hope they actually bring out all those pre-trends as well. Obviously, at the moment, sadly, Moon Girl and those ones don't seem to be coming out, but I hope at some point they will. I'm really glad I bought this one. I've got most of the EC books now. Over the years, I've collected odd ones. Unfortunately, the Russ Cochran ones that I would love to get are so expensive for the Tales from the Crypt. So these ones are definitely great to have. Though my favourites are probably more the science fiction ones, perhaps obviously the westerns as well as the war ones, but not so much the horror ones. But still, it is nice to have in my collection. This one, of course, totally recommended, especially if you love horror books.